Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for Make Your Good Business Great Summit. Here for your daily juice is Sonaya Williams. Now, she heads up an awesome organisation, which is going to she's going to give us some great tips on automating and streamlining your business. So this obviously creates more time and more money for all of us busy working CEOs. So welcome, Sonaya. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Kim.
My pleasure. Now, tell us all about your business.
Yeah, so my business is called The CEO Partner, and it's about 5 years young. Essentially, what we do is we like to help 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs grow their business the right way, using systems and processes, and also having their team work more effectively. One thing I learned, I spent about 10 years in corporate before I started my business. And the one thing that I learned from corporate is they have all these processes and policies that while you're in corporate, you hate them. So that you come out of corporate and you create business and then you just spin your wheels all the time.
Yep.
And part of it's because you don't have those policies or procedures in place to follow.
Yep.
So that's essentially what we help small businesses do. We help them put in place the infrastructure for these systems and processes. So you're not spinning your wheels every time you're doing something, and you're creating the same result for your clients.
That's great. And can you see that different personalities coming in that you consult work differently, and so therefore, you need to, create different systems for them?
Definitely. Yeah. So it's funny because you can create systems for one business, but they may not work the exact same for another business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have the same structure, but it's really about how you want your business to run, the personality of your business, essentially.
Yep.
So yeah, it's very different. Like there are people who get it really quickly and they don't need the full detail step by step. They just need a checklist to make sure they're capturing everything.
Yeah.
And then there's visual learners that want to see like a pretty flow chart and how, everything fits together.
Yeah.
So essentially we give them, when we do our processes, you get the visual flow chart. So you know where you are in the way of the process. And then a checklist for those that have the process down and just want to make sure that they're capturing everything, that they haven't missed a step.
Yeah.
And then there's, the step-by-step that actually gives you all the detail of how to complete that step for like when you're training new employees.
Great. So you would also do a lot of that to help businesses as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that often happens as well, Sonaya, is that we have we're experts in what we do, and when we're in corporate, we plug into an organisation, and then when we start working for ourselves, and even if we have a few people, working with us, we still have that experience of being the expert where we are, but not knowing, necessarily how to run a business in its entirety and to make it profitable and streamlined as what you help people to do.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of, especially in the online business world, there are a lot of creatives, right?
Yeah.
You have this great idea and the idea is going to work.
Yeah.
But then like, how do I make this idea into a business? That's a whole different thing for people.
Right.
And even some people that don't come corporate, they come with this great idea, but they don't know how to do this. And like you said, a profitable business. And it gets frustrating for them. And a lot of them, what's funny is on the operations side of my business where we manage online businesses, a lot of those entrepreneurs didn't have any corporate experience. So they were never a manager. They never managed a team. Therefore, they're scared to.
Yeah.
They can be great leaders, but they're not great managers.
Right.
And that's because they had that idea and the idea sprung into a business. And it's like, well, now I need to make this thing profitable. What do I do? How do I make this work? And so that's when we kind of come in and help put in those infrastructure, put in that team so that as a CEO, you can just continue to create ideas that generate money and not have to worry about the day-to-day of running your business.
Oh, that would be like a dream come true, wouldn't it? So for the people listening that would, like me, tell me, where do I start? What should I be looking at?
Yeah. So the first thing you should really look at, to be honest, is everything that you do every single day.
Yeah.
Most of you probably have it all in your head.
Yeah.
And the thing I would encourage you to do is start writing things down. Even if it's a short checklist that says, this is how I send out my newsletter. This is how I bill a client. And it's 5 steps. You don't have to go into much detail, but you just have to get it out of your head. Because when you get to a point when you want to either bring with someone on part-time, it'll make your life so much easier when you're ready to hire someone and train them. Because then they're not coming to you every step of the way, right? And saying, okay, I sent out the invoice. Now what do you want me to do? Yep. Start to have the checklist there for someone to execute on your behalf. And it's funny because I had this conversation with one of my clients the other day. And what we started to do with her, which is interesting, is have her voice record how she does things or how she wants things done.
Right.
And get that transcribed.
That's a terrific idea, actually. I like the idea of voice recording.
Yeah, voice record or even create a video of your screen of what you're doing.
Yep.
And then create what I call like a video library, just so things start to get out of your head.
Yep. And
it's not reliant on you all the time.
Yeah. Yep. Terrific. I like that. And so in automating, or how do you then take your clients through the process of freeing up more time for themselves? What do you normally suggest?
Yeah. So time freedom. The whole time freedom thing is quite funny because a lot of people balance.
It's really not funny.
I try to stay away from that word because but if you think about it, is there really balance? Like even as a non-entrepreneur, as an employee somewhere, you work, there's 7 days in a week. You work 5 of them and you have 2 off.
Yeah.
What kind of balance is that really?
No.
So my whole thing to time freedom is 1, to stop doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Start asking for help. And I know that can be scary because if you're in business and you're wanting to turn profit, you're like, how can I put out more money and pay someone? But you get to a point where it's going to be, how can't you? Because if you can think about paying someone $15 to $20 an hour to do your client care, do your client billing, send out your newsletter, and those couple hours, you can be making more money to pay that person.
Yeah.
And grow your business. So I like to look at a team as an investment instead of like an expense, essentially.
Yes.
And then another tip I have for that is when I had my first assistant, she was $20 an hour and I had her for 5 hours a week, just 5 hours a week.
Yep.
And she was instructed when she got to 3 hours to let me know so that I can reprioritize the work that she had for the remaining 2 hours of the week.
Yep.
Or I can look at my budget and say, do it all because I can pay you for everything now.
Yeah.
So I put some structure to that, and that gave me time freedom because then I was able to do more revenue generating activities in terms of connecting with partners, getting new clients, other things that would generate more money in my business.
Yeah, great.
That's the first thing I do for time freedom.
Yep.
The second thing I do is I put everything in my calendar, like everything from breakfast to dinner. Everything lives in my calendar, so I know what's happening. And that's kind of what helps me have sanity of knowing what's going on and what I have to do. Even when I'm working on client projects or tasks and things like that, it goes in and I time block what I have to do for a client or for my business. If I'm writing a newsletter or an article, that goes in there as well. Mm-hmm. And that helps me look at the way I'm spending my time. And if I'm spending more time working on my clients, more time working on my business, or more time, if I need more time just to relax, I need to just block that out in there.
Yeah, great. And nothing that overlaps, hey? That's how my diary.
Sometimes you have, sometimes you have some things that you get some conflicts, but you also, as an entrepreneur, you have the freedom to create your own schedule.
Yeah.
So I know for me, when I first moved to the UK and moved in with my husband, it was kind of like I used to get angry at myself because with my clients being in the US, I used to still have late calls. And so there were some nights that we wouldn't be sitting down and having dinner together. Mm-hmm. And so I used to feel bad about that. But as an entrepreneur, you have, the freedom to create your own schedule. Mm-hmm. And you just can't be angry at yourself or upset at it. Like, you have to give yourself some ease and grace. Yeah. Even if it's to take a call on a Saturday or take a call on a Sunday, you can do that and that be okay. It's your choice, because say maybe you take off a Wednesday, but you do that work on a Saturday morning and get it done. Yeah. It's what works best for you. And now for me, what I started to do was I now have Mondays and Thursdays being like my late nights that I work. Yep. And I take calls with my clients in the US. And therefore, I make sure dinner's cooked. So we eat, and then I do my call. So now I don't have that feeling bad for myself of not having dinner together kind of thing. Yeah. Kind of, you just have to make it work and give yourself some grace.
Yeah, terrific. And just going back to point number 1, when you're hiring new staff, one of the fears I think that a lot of us have is getting it right, hiring the right person at the right time and almost not even having to train them that much. What would you suggest with that?
That's a good point, because once you get over the fear of making the investment, it's like, is now the right time to hire, or where do I find the right person, or how do I make sure you are the right person? Yeah. So I've always heard this: hire slowly, fire quickly. And I still believe in that.
I've never heard that.
Never heard that. Yeah, hire slowly, fire quickly. Yeah. So my whole hire slow process is a little like, I create the job description, we put it out, and then inside the job description, we put a link to a questionnaire so we can find out more about the actual applicant before we get on the phone with them. Right. Just make sure they're right. Yeah. So we put some questions in the questionnaire that we find out more about them, what they want to do, what they've been, their experiences kind of thing. And then from there, we go to like round 1 of interviews. And then we get on the phone and find out about the personality and their work experience. Then we kind of dwindle it down to a handful of people. And what we do is we give them mini projects, because we want to make sure that what they say they could do on their job, on their resume or in the questionnaire actually matches. Yeah. And company, we pay for these mini projects. So it's a small amount, because the projects are something like putting together a calendar or putting together a schedule or helping us do some research, something like that. Got is it. What we would ask, depending on the position. And from there, we pick kind of the best person who performed well on the test. And we measure it based on, how long it actually took to do the task as well. And we probably do between 3 to 5. Yeah, right. Just to give some variety of different tasks and see how they handle different things. And then from there, we put people on a 90-day trial. When anybody joins my team, they join first on a 90-day trial. And then throughout that trial, I will meet with them, figure out if they're doing great, if the position's right for them, kind of thing. Yeah. And then from there, they would move on to being like a full either independent contractor or employee or whatever in the company. Yeah, right. That's fantastic. And that's helped. Yeah, that's helped me in hiring, because it's helped me definitely figure out the right personalities, make sure I'm hiring people that match my values, their skills are right. I mean, I've had people on my team now going on a little over 3 years. Yeah. So it's been good. And I use the same process when we hire for our clients. It's
one of the things that a lot of companies face, big or small, is staff retention, isn't it?
It is. Definitely. Staff retention is huge, because you don't want to have to go through and spend the time training someone to then go through and retrain somebody else over and over and over again. That's right. Yeah, it's client happiness, but also keeping your staff happy is
Yeah.
key as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And tell me, Sanaya, what have been some of your biggest challenges along the way in growing your gorgeous empire?
I will say it's funny. The biggest challenge I had was about 3 years ago when I met my husband and I came to the UK to travel for about 3 weeks for the very first time. And my business was probably about 3 years old.
Yeah.
Going on 3 years old. So I, was good with my team, good with what I thought systems and my own systems and processes.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's what you think you're good at.
Yeah.
Then, so I decided to take a workcation where I was taking time off, but where we were traveling. And so we went to Paris for 3 weeks. We went to Paris for a week or two, and then I was in the UK for the remaining time. And I remember getting on the Eurostar, coming back to the UK, and looking at my email and getting messages from clients that were unhappy. And I'm like, how could this be? Everything's there. My team knows what to do. Everything's in place. But they weren't getting the same experience they would get as if I were there.
Right.
So when I got to the bottom
I'm sure a lot of companies actually experience that too, Sonaya. Yeah.
Yeah. But then part of it is you want to be able to build a company that you can take time off.
Exactly.
Because you need to recharge.
Exactly.
So for me, we had to get to the bottom of what happened and what was going on. And when I got back, I met with every member of my team. At that point in time, I think I had three consultants on my team.
Yep.
And they were just these are questions that we usually ask you, and you weren't here for us to ask. And I'm like, but the processes are there for you to follow. The tools are there. Everything's there. They weren't updated. They weren't updated as to where our company was now. And our company, it was growing at that time. And so we switched up how we did things. We switched up some different tools that we were using. Our process for communicating with clients changed a little bit, and it just wasn't documented right.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to take a step back and treat myself like a client.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go through and update our own processes. That was probably that was probably the biggest hurdle for myself.
Yeah.
I lost
terrific.
Yeah, I lost about 25,000 in that journey and learned a good lesson. Learned a good lesson. Now we have our own process in place where we update our procedures every quarter and we review them.
Yeah. So every quarter you go through and you update all of your procedures again. Wow.
Yeah. So everybody that's responsible. Yeah, you have to. Everybody is responsible for going in and updating the processes that they manage.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I'm going to take that one on. I'm definitely going to take that one on. Now, you've got clients all over the world as well. How have you grown your business? What tips could you give, me, please?
Yeah. What's funny is the way my business has grown over the past 5 years is a lot through referrals.
Yeah.
Referrals and relationships.
Yeah.
I can't say I've spent a lot of marketing dollars. I can say I've spent marketing dollars, but probably not the right way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people experience that.
Yeah. For me, it's referrals. And I think it's because of the service we provide that when someone experiences it and it's great service, they talk about it. And that's how we have grown our business. Yeah. And I just literally nurture our clients, our past clients, and any partner relationships we have.
Yeah.
And I do that. What's funny is my system for doing that is I block time in my calendar every week to reach out to partners, to reach out to past clients, just to check in and see how they're doing. It's all about relationships.
It's all about relationships. That is perfect. I completely agree. And, in our digital world, and, you and I are very digitally focused, we can forget that it's actually another human at the end.
It's true. And it's surprising because then when I pick up the phone and, make a phone call, they're like, oh, hi. And then you get into a nice conversation and it's nice because you're not expecting anything. They're not expecting anything. It's really just a literal check-in. How's it going? How are you doing?
Yeah, terrific. And so you've systemized that. Obviously, you don't speak to everybody every week, but you have people in a rotating system.
Yeah, definitely. So I have in my CRM system, my client relationship marketing system, I track kind of who I've spoken to, what we've spoken about last, any notes on them or the work that we've done, or if they're a partner, I kind of like track what's going on in their life and just use that to check in with probably I would say between 3 and 5 on a Friday. Every Friday I'll check in with a handful of them.
And I love that you do it on a Friday. Everyone's
Yeah.
up for a little bit of a chat on a Friday, right?
Everybody's up for a chat on a Friday.
The winding down, absolutely. That's terrific. And, given the point that your business is at right now, what would you say is your biggest challenge right now? Given, you've got your business to a really nice place and of course you still want it to grow. So, given that you're rocking it along, what is your challenge right now?
So I would honestly say the biggest challenge for me right now that I'm working on is taking myself out, essentially, and not necessarily creating a full product, but productizing our service. So I'm wanting to up-level what we do and create like a signature way of doing it. Just so that it's not like the time for dollars or a lot of the one-on-one for everything that we do. So there's a little bit more variety in terms of the services that we offer.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. And that takes some time. Have you been working on that for a while?
I have. It's been in my head thinking about how to do that. So I have been working on it for a while, and I probably will be one of my main things for 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And it does take a long time to birth, and new product ranges.
Yeah, definitely.
It's terrific. And on another note, like you would follow, some awesome, mentors, and I'm sure you've read lots of books and ways to do stuff. What would you say for our viewers is your all-time favorite book that you've read?
My favorite book, and it's funny, I give this book to every contractor and client that I come across.
Okay, so this is it.
This is the book, because I read this book. I remember sitting on my couch and reading this book in a couple hours on a Saturday morning.
Oh, okay.
And the book is called Built to Sell.
Yeah.
How to Create a Business. Did I lose you there?
Yeah, we'll just edit that little bit. We'll just say that again. And Sonaya, tell us what is the all-time favorite book that you have read?
Yeah. So this book is a book that I give to any new contractor that comes on my team. Great. I give it to new clients. So this is my ultimate favorite book. It's called Built to Sell: How to Create a Company That Can Thrive Without You.
Okay. And really, you've modeled your whole career business on this book.
Yeah, it's interesting because I literally sat down on Saturday and read this book in a few hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And can you remember the author's name?
I want to say it's like John Warlow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's his name. He's also written a book called Automatic Customer.
Okay, great. Well, I'll Google that, and in where we're going to put your giveaway and your bio and all of that, we'll pop that book in, Sonaya's favorite book. And, tell us, who are your favorite idols, business or not, living or not?
Oh.
That's a caring one.
That is. Business idols. So Steve Jobs was always an idol for me. I love how innovative and creative he was. Who
Change the
else?
world.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely changed the world.
Yeah.
I think Warren Buffett is a brilliant man.
Yeah.
I love the way he just deals with and handles money and always is looking forward. To be
Yeah.
honest, he's like a forward thinker.
Yeah.
Another person is the founder of Twitter. His name is completely, I'm losing his name right now,
Yeah,
but the founder of Twitter
yeah.
is also another forward thinking person that I follow.
Wonderful, wonderful. We can all take, lots of great lessons from those guys, definitely. So thank you so much for your time today. Are there anything that you just want to burst out before we go?
Well, I just definitely want to say the one thing for a lot of entrepreneurs is I hear a lot of time, and I hear with my clients as well, I can do it so much better, or I can do it myself. I don't need anybody else to do it. But that's the mindset that's going to hold you back from getting to that next, financial goal of yours, whether it's the next 6 figures or 7 figures in your business.
Yeah.
And it's really getting to a point where you're ready to invest in team and ask for help. That's going to help you get to that next step financially in your business and make your business great.
That's great. Get out of solo and get into a team. Create a team. Well, that is definitely what you're all about. So thank you so much for being with us, Sonaya. Everybody can read more about you on this page, and we'll also put a link to your website for people to get in touch with you as well. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great. I'm looking forward to hearing all the other speakers as well.
Terrific. Well, we've got some great ones. Thank you. See you.